Okay, this week's tips and tricks, we have several, and most of them pertain to using your keyboard on your iPad. So it's shortcuts or tips for using your keyboard a little bit better. To demonstrate these, I need to bring up the keyboard. So I'm going to go to my Notes app, and you have this too. The Notes app allows you to take notes if you're sitting in a conference or a meeting. It's so nice just to type in any notes or kind of do an outline of the meeting that you're in, and then you can easily email them to yourself, and you'll have them for later, and you'll have a digital copy, so that's really nice. All right, so when I click on the notepad or when I go to add new notes, my keyboard comes up, and one of the first tips that I wanted to show you, and this also works with the iPhone and it also works with the BlackBerry. I used to have a BlackBerry, but as you're typing and you get to the end of a sentence, you can just double tap the space bar twice and it'll put a period in there. Double tap the space bar twice, and every time you do that it'll insert a period for you, so you don't have to hunt for it. It's just easy, and it does take a little getting used to, but you will get used to it and you'll start using that space bar every time you need a period. So in case you didn't know, this icon here gets rid of the keyboard, so if you want that out of your way, you can click this icon right here. Also with the period key, if you hold it down, there's your quotes, quotation marks. So a lot of times, even though you can probably get to them on a different screen, a lot of times it's easier not to have to change screens. So, and that's the case with a lot of the keys on the keyboard here. For example, if I press and hold the E, you see all of those letters and symbols that come up that you may need occasionally. The I has them as well. And you can just click and hold the buttons to see if any of them have these symbols connected to them. Some do and some don't, but that's just an easy way to get to some of those that you may need occasionally. Okay, so that's for extra characters that are rarely used. You can just hold down certain keys. I'll get the question a lot is, how do you turn caps lock on? This is your shift key, so you can type a capital letter and go down a couple lines. So if you want a capital letter, you just press shift and then it goes right back to lowercase. If you want to turn your cap lock on, you just click and hold, and then it will, maybe it's tap it twice, I'm sorry. So if you tap it twice, it turns the cap lock on, and it will stay on until you click it again. So it's a 2-tap on the shift key. There it goes. You have to tap it pretty fast. Okay, so that's how to turn the caps lock on and off. And then this other shortcut, again, it kind of takes some getting used to, and you'll learn later that you really like these shortcuts. At first, maybe they're not quite as comfortable for you, but you learn as you start using your iPad a lot, you learn that these really are helpful. So you probably know that anytime you need a number or a symbol, you click the 1, 2, 3 button, and then to go back, you click the ABC button. But what you can do is just click and hold here, and you go up and select whatever it is that you want, and as soon as you let go, it takes you back to your QWERTY keyboard, to the keyboard with the letters on it. So again, you just click and hold, and you go up to the number that you want, or the symbol, and as soon as you let go, it takes you back to the QWERTY keyboard. So that saves you a little bit of time from clicking, selecting, and clicking to go back. You just click and drag to the number, and then as soon as you let go, it takes you back to that QWERTY keyboard. So that's pretty neat. One of the best shortcuts that I have found is if you click and hold on your keyboard, the one that makes your keyboard disappear here. So if you click and hold and drag up to split, it splits your keyboard in half, and then you can text with your thumbs. And you know, kids really like that. They like texting with their thumbs. So you have your right thumb and your left thumb and just text away. So if you're planning on having your students use your iPad for research or to take notes or whatever, they probably will really like this split keyboard. And then to go back, you just click and hold that same button and select Dock and Merge, and it puts it back to where it was. So that's one of the best shortcuts that there are, I think. Right here, if you notice, I have an additional keyboard, and you do have to get this keyboard in your settings, but it will allow you to type symbols and pictures and things like that, clocks, smiley faces, so you can type those too. But you do have to get this keyboard in your settings, and I'll show that to you too. So let me get out of this, get out my keyboard. Now if I wanted to email this document to myself, I can click here, and I could trash it as well if I was done with it. I'm going to click email to, go back and get my other keyboard. And so it puts my address up in there, send, and now this has been sent to me in an email. Now it won't look like a notepad, it'll just be, you know, the regular email with your black text on a white background. But it's so convenient for taking notes at conferences and meetings and things like that. Okay, one of the last tips that I wanted to show you is in settings. And it's actually 2 or 3 things here that I wanted to share with you. One is about the software update. Now, you need to periodically connect your cable from your iPad into your computer and bring up iTunes, and it will check for software updates for you. And you really need to do that periodically, or you're going to miss out on a lot of the newest features and the advances and the bug fixes and things like that. So you do need to do that periodically. Depending on what version of software you have, you may or may not have this option for the software update. If you don't have this, then you need to plug your iPad into your computer and bring up iTunes, and it will update to version 5.0 or higher. You have to have at least version 5.0 in order to even have this software update feature. And from that point, you can update from your iPad rather than plugging it in every time. But if you do not have this option, make sure you plug your iPad into your computer and allow it to update. So when you click on software updates, and if you'll notice, mine had a 1 beside it. Now I've updated it not too long ago, but when I click on it, it lets me know that there is a newer version. These are the things that are in the newest version, and I can select to install that now. Installing this software, a lot of times it does take a while, so I'm not going to do that right now. And then one of the next things I wanted to show you is this usage right here. And again, if you don't have version 5.0 or higher, and I'm going to click here on the software update. See, I have version 5.0. Now they've come out with 5.1, so that's what I need to update to. Some of you may still have 4.6 or something like that, but that'll tell you, but you can find out even by clicking About. It'll tell you what version you have. Let's see, version, here it is. 5.0.1 is what I currently have, so you can click that About button to see what version you have. Okay, so back to what I wanted to show you, which was usage. I think in the other tip and trick, and you can see mine is searching, and what this does is it's searching for available storage. I have 3.2 gigabytes available. I've used 10.6 gigabytes. Now if you see this Self magazine right here, I probably have, I don't know, 6 or 8 of those downloaded onto my iPad. So those are taking up almost 2 gigabytes of space on my iPad. The National Geographic, I think I just had one month of that magazine, I believe. But you can just kind of see what's taking up the most space on your iPad. And you can even delete from here. So if I want to show all apps that are taking up space on my iPad, I can click there and I can scroll down the list, and these are listed from the ones that take up the most space to the ones that take up the least space. So as I go through here, if there's an app that I really don't use very much, and most of these I use, I was going to see, I can delete the app just by clicking on it, and you can free up some of your space. So as you start downloading a lot of things, it may tell you that you are running out of space, and this is the best way to go in and see what's taking up the most space and delete those that you don't use so much. Alright, so About will show you what version of software you have. Software Update will allow you to update your software, and then Usage will show you which apps are taking up the most space on your iPad. So I hope that helps you get to know your iPad a little bit better and know how to manage it a little more so that you can get the best use out of it. So I hope you're enjoying your iPad, and I hope you're enjoying learning these little tips and tricks.